Now they have started dividing the gods also. They had pressurized the Empuraan team to subject the movie for further cuts with Munambam or without Munambam. There have been so many orchestrated moves. Yeah, I never mentioned about Suresh Gopi in Rajya Sabha. It's a defining moment for the country to decide whether we need to uphold the principle of secularism. This was in this context that the opposition took a position which is principled, that we will fight tooth and nail this Wakf Amendment Bill. And I can say that despite all the mechanization that has been done by the government, more or less the opposition remained intact. Even couple of allies of BJP had to come out and vote against this bill. And most of the messages we tried to disseminate have been appreciated by the people. For example, the most important thing is that if you don't have a non-Hindu in any of the Davasam board or Hindu trust or temple trust, why do you insist that you need to have a non-Muslim in Waqf board or Central Waqf Council? When I was speaking in Rajya Sabha, I actually went into the nitty-gritty of the bill, wherein even in the Waqf Central Council and Waqf boards, if the government is shrewd enough, they can appoint majority of the members outside the Muslim community. It simply means alienation of the Muslim Waqf administration from the Muslims. This is very disastrous. If it happens with regard to Muslims today, tomorrow other minorities are also under threat, and further they will go out to usurp into the powers of other sections of the society. That was the context in which we took a principled stand and a fight against the mechanization of the BJP government. See, for JDU and TDP, beyond political considerations, there are other concerns. I don't want to, detail what are the other concerns, but it's obvious that they are not concerned about the genuine demands of the people. But let us look at a couple of parties from Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. For example, Andhra Pradesh, YSR Congress Party, which was not very sure whether they need to be in the opposition. And most of the times they used to hobnob with the BJP in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. They took a principled position, came out. And also the BRS of Telangana, though they are the principal opposition party to Congress in Telangana, they took a position against this bill. And JDU, TDP, I am sure about that. There are a lot of simmering discontent within the rank saying that it was not a politically prudent position to have supported the bill. So in the coming days, there could be a lot of reverberations that would be happening. See, while we are speaking in Parliament, in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, we made it a point that this bill violates the fundamental principles of our constitution. And while I was speaking in Rajya Sabha, I talked about even segregating the gods. For example, how can a Hindu god be different from Allah? Now their biggest task was to divide the people. Now they have started dividing the gods also. For example, the act of limitation is not applicable to a Hindu deity or the property of a devasthan. But now they have made act of limitation applicable to Waqf boards. So they are actually segregating the gods also. I am sure about the fact that many of the parties, there are a couple of political parties which have already announced that they are going to the Supreme Court. Many other organizations will certainly approach the Supreme Court, and the bill would be examined threadbare by the Supreme Court.
What about CPM? Have you?
We are contemplating, because since we are busy with the All India Congress, we couldn't deliberate on the bill. I am sure that we would spell out our position with regard to that. See, the I would say the ecosystem that is developing in this country with regard to the freedom of speech and expression. I spoke in Rajya Sabha also. It's under threat. India has turned to be paradise of wounded people. Anybody has a reason to be getting wounded. See, the creative expression of people has to be respected. That is the cultural tradition of this country. The moment you just peruse a particular script and say that this is against you, this is against them, there ends this so-called plural society, creative expression, the fundamental right of freedom of speech and expression. And unleashing the central agencies against those people who may be, violating the diktat of the ruling party. This is not new. So it's not a surprise to me. Actually, they had pressurized the Empuraan team to subject the movie for further cuts by naturally showing the central agencies, despite making such cuts and despite, subjecting themselves for humiliation, they are not being spared. I don't know why that is happening. So it is for the movie producers and the director and the team to think that despite passing through the agony and trauma of making cuts, they are being subjected for vilification and such raids. It's quite unfortunate. See, with Munambam or without Munambam, there have been so many orchestrated moves to confuse, misguide the Christian minority in Kerala. That's why I specifically spoke against such heinous attempts. How the Muslim, how the a wedge is being driven between Muslim community and Christian community. With regard to Munambam, I can tell you that just because you have a piece of legislation, there won't be aberration. Can you insist that? The government of Kerala has already made its stand abundantly clear that none of the genuine person who has been living there will be evicted. And Kerala government, which has the sagacity to give 5 lakh houses for those people who are houseless, they have that commitment towards those people who have been living there. So there are methods in which they can resolve the Munambam issue. But whereas Waqf Bill was an ulterior motive to create polarization in India, and this is part of the Hindutva project that is on. See, I never mentioned about Suresh Gopi in Rajya Sabha. I talked about the way how, a section of the minorities, especially Christians, are being deceived by the BJP leaders. I equated with Judas, who betrayed Jesus Christ for 30 silver coins. I also talked about a character called Munna in a popular Malayalam movie, which is very controversial also. That is Munna character. I said, seeing the mechanization, seeing the dubious ways to misguide the Christian community, to shed crocodile tears on Munambam, I can see such characters in the treasury benches. That was a way of, putting across my point. Suresh Gopi thought that, you see, he is the one who has to, be responsible for these characters. That is his problem. It's not none of my problem. So he reacted to it. But I don't know whether it was a coherent reaction or not, because his own party colleagues and even leader of the house, J.P. Naddaji, was not very happy about the response of Suresh Gopi. That is what I understood sitting in the house. But he's a simpleton man, a good friend of mine, and I don't intend anything bad about him. But I only feel that since he used to rely on a lot of scripts while he used to be in the movie world, in politics also somebody needs to write a good script for him. Because without a script, he's seen to be making incoherent statements. So in order to help him, it's high time that the BJP leadership should make sure that some political scripting is being done for him. See, Rahul Gandhi was there when the floor leaders of India alliance parties were called on the previous day of the Waqf Bill. And I was personally happy that he participated in the meeting. I would have certainly expected the opposition leader to make his comments so that the entire nation understand how does he think about this piece of legislation. So I'm disillusioned by the fact that he couldn't contribute to the debates on this Waqf bill. Now, coming to the absence of Priyanka Gandhi, who has become a MB of Wayanad, where there is a dominant presence of the minorities, especially Muslims, that is quite unfortunate. It's quite natural because basically they had never expected such things to happen. They have been always relying on Priyanka Gandhi or Rahul Gandhi, who is the former MP of Wayanad. So it would have been a rude shock for them. It would have been an awakening for them to understand the seriousness that is being given by both the Gandhi family members or both the members of parliament who are supposed to be heading the Congress, the capacity of an opposition leader, and also the party general secretary, AICC general secretary. They should have been much more responsible in dealing with the situation. We feel that basically even our country has slightly let down the Palestinian people. Our country has been always holding the Palestine cause close to us, close to the heart. But of late, there have been serious aberration. The way in which we deal with Israel, the way in which we abstain from voting in UN, the way in which we are not very forthright in expressing our solidarity. So we feel that in the hour of crisis, when Palestinian people are being slaughtered left and right, when even Trump administration wants to convert that into a Rivera, this is a time for a political party like CPM to uphold the values of brotherhood and also our solidarity with the Palestinian people. I've always felt that journalism and politics are complementary, and whenever journalism lost the political soul, that has actually dented the journalists. And I feel that basically the cardinal principle of both politics and journalism is commitment to the people, commitment to the society. And I'm glad that more than a journalist, I can express much more vehemently and much more profoundly my position with regard to socio-political issues.